I've known some pretty hardcore Catholic people. You know, Pope Francis is a remarkable human being. In fact, he's so remarkable, I'm not entirely convinced that these hardcore Catholics represent the faith. But that's not news. I mean, people have said that about this person or that person many, many times. I don't mean to get down on people who are Catholic. I'm sure most of them are really very generous, quiet about it and stuff. But what I want to get into is a dialectic that's been imposed on me that to make me look bad. You know, I may look like one of the stooges, you know, or somebody who's gone out to portray one of the stooges that Kenny would. You know, it's not hard to make me look bad. I look bad. I'm a stupid looking mother. But there's a strange kind of special obsession with making me look bad. Like a teacher whose teamsters had really worked me over came up to me when I mentioned that I had been tortured by the clown as a child and said, "You're not special." It's really important to him to get off that firecracker at my ego. And Vince Irene used to make me feel really hated. He was a Catholic worker, and he was friends with Martin Sheen. So I call this the Sheen dialectic. You know, like when Midori Goto was pulling the Charles Bronson on me while claiming I was never tortured to benefit the people who did it. There was this guy named Don Imerman, Don Timmerman. He was a Catholic worker in Milwaukee, who I sent the horrifying letter. I've never seen it since. It would be hard to reproduce, but it was about the elliptical hypnosis where I had to tie my key to my wrist and my hand took it off unconsciously and dropped it. It was a letter that tried to capture and came close to capturing truly horrible suffering that was inflicted on me when Jesse Jackson and his compadres recycled torture, claiming I was never tortured and made me pay for the gas I was gassed with. Pretty sick. But what I'm here to talk about isn't that. It's the fact that people say to me in their way, if you were too good to brag, you wouldn't do it. Now, most people know that the funny farm, I'm a prisoner of war too, who tortured me from cradle to grave, mutilation. The science of true hatred and animosity has been applied to me. Operate openly along Aztec principles. They want a human sacrifice, and they've sacrificed humans. The rights they obviously violated, I think that's obvious. But in Aztec mythology, there was someone else who was violated. It was the brag bird. He'd say, "I'm the brag bird, look at me." And you're supposed to be all culturally competent when, um, the Latino pulled out his arrow, bow and arrow, and let fly one in the brag bird and shot it from the sky. And mercy behavioral, most of the sound mental health scene pronged me again and again with this idea that I was trying to play all big. And it's not that they cared. It's not like they were looking after my soul or anything like that. I think they were more canny about the evil intimacy of their con job and hate crap than I am even right now. It's going to be hard to explain. But Gail Burson mocked me as insignificant. One of the things I like to brag about was Martha Gellhorn, who was a friend of Eleanor Roosevelt and Franklin Roosevelt. Franklin Roosevelt wrote a letter. This woman is a close, dear friend of me and Eleanor. Please pay her the civilities that you would, knowing that. And this woman wrote to me once. She didn't identify me as a close, dear friend. She had it out with me, but she was very brave, and I love her. And I love some of her friends, even before I knew that they were her friends. A certain caliber to the people that she kept company with. And one of them wrote to me some like, playing all big. Oh, it makes me proud of myself. But more importantly, the people who tortured me called me insignificant. And I was inculcated in me to be insignificant. They hated me. They called me evil names. They called me queer bait. They abused me and tortured me and sexually molested me and made a joke of me constantly, from Brecker to Pete Shell, Carbonell, and beyond and before, and Irene and Marcus and the whole crowd around Rusted Root and the Shunts and He's Dead Jim and the whole monstrosity that was summoned with Penis Gabriel and the coward Fripp and Donald Trump. All of them mocked me. When Martha Gellhorn wrote to me, a man who wrote a book about her husband at Pitt said, "Why did she write to you?" I was so infuriated that they made me divest of the letter. So, it's like gasping for air. This person humanized me. And even though this person was a friend of Eleanor Roosevelt, it wasn't enough to humanize me in the eyes of the flock of birds that came from the Alfred Hitchcock mentality of George Romero pecking at the queer bait. Jimmy Creary is nothing. He's just a piece of you know what. And Flippy Tune, he's trying to upstage Her Majesty. What did I even do but assert my agency saying I wanted to go to school? They pulled up in hot cars and kidnapped me and battered me and gassed me. You don't get to go to school, queerbait. You think you're better than us. And the chain of command goes to Martin Sheen, plain and simple. And that was all going on long before they dropped the cosmic acid bomb of could have saved John Lennon, man. That they still refuse in total denial to admit had nothing to do with me. They say it never happened. John Schulman wasn't stealing no books, man. They bust him red-handed. Well, he's stealing no books, man. You're starting rumors about people who are distinguished people. They're better than you, man. And they do like this. He's talking. He got straight A's and he can't keep it to himself. You don't deserve those straight A's. He can't keep it to himself. You don't deserve them. Say they set up a entrapment operation Pinocchio, and I explained to the girl who I was in love with that they were doing this, and I might have to look into it again. And they said looking into it means pronging some Sally. I'm like, what are you doing this for? Because of this? And they said, play that back again. Ooh, look what he's doing. Licky chaps. So they got genocide pornographers doing licky chops. What gives? They call that a government. A government. And the government tells me I'm not allowed to be explained as a story, a happy story. That one of the best friends of the Roosevelts wrote me a letter saying, "Please explain to me what's going on." And so they have decoys in place to say he's bragging. He thinks he's better than us. Yeah, what is that? Why they shot two more? They murdered? I mean, drowned two more Kennedys? Because I think I'm better than us. They think, oh, he doesn't have discretion. Well, I'm anti-discussion on some levels because somebody has to find a public that's worthy of trust. Oh, you don't trust the public if you tell them what's going on. You don't trust them, if you tell them what's going on. If you tell them what's going on, you lack discretion. You don't trust them. They know what's going on. You don't need to tell them what's going on. They know what's going on. What the fuck is going on? I'm gonna tell the public what's going on. You're torturing people from childhood and committing genocidal activities and spurning someone like Martha Gellhorn and the Kennedys. That's what's going on. You're attacking for the FDR. Times have changed, son. Times have changed. The good kind want a piece of the action now. What's going on? What kind of discretion is saying you can't ask what the hell is this? So there's things about all that stuff that I don't even know what it means. What's the harm in saying, I'm the blackbird, look at me, I'm the blackbird, look at me? They'll say that. They cultural companies. We'll get the street scholars to finish you up, and then you'll see how serious this is. You think you're better than us. Stooge, you don't know Stooge. And they have the people who look alikes of the people who tortured me, graded me, because the Pope wants you to forgive them. The Pope wants you to forgive them. They had it all planned out, premeditatively. We're gonna kill you. We're gonna kill your friends. We're gonna kill Kennedys. We're gonna poach FDR. We're gonna steal the letters. We're gonna destroy your archives. We're gonna mess you up. We're gonna break you like a piece of Tiffany glass, and then we're gonna tell you as a receipt on your forgiveness, you better forgive us. And it's all fucking Hollywood. They planned it from the beginning. They have Reagan come out and wave me the night before he claims he got shot, and his attorneys give me this brochure that says there's no such thing as objective reality, only what the jury believes. And you can't see what that implies, what that suggests of it. And the croquet reduced to go around. I mean, they pull this stuff and they walk away cackling. They had Akira Kurosawa was in on it. Sergei Eisenstein was in on it. Woody Allen was in on it. They had all the great, and you tell me they were using words like doable fantasy. I mean, and you tell me it couldn't be possible. They set up the explanation in all of Reagan's films. I could show you clips from Reagan's films that explain the whole thing right from the film. And you're telling me I didn't find that, and I didn't find that. If you believed in that, then you wouldn't talk about it. You wouldn't try to teach. I had a person who read my article showing that Reagan's was working with the people who made the Burning Cross for the KKK during his World War II films that were encrypted with Access Cinema. She said, "Thank you, that was very helpful." When I did a paper, school banned me. I did a paper for the deans, and I got 303, the highest level course that that college had ever issued to a student. And they said, "Don't brag about that, because you'll someone will get hurt if you try to brag about that. You were banned from the school and you were chemically castrated because the way you we didn't like the way you found someone who loved you. That's not the way we do things here. Who's behind this monkey business? UW dialectical for one thing, Carnegie Mellon for another. A whole flock of Israeli Americans with creepy names like Watt and Mako. It's like Van de Graaff generators in a Frankenstein machine. What sort of society are we standing here defending? That the government, they call themselves, says you'll be fine, docked, and have your mail tampered with. If you put up where someone can see it that you got a certificate for 5 days to cap, I'm warning you, boy, because that ain't reflex. If you were too good to brag, you wouldn't do it. So, what do I got to brag about? Can you see the sarcasm? I don't have anything to brag about. I've been completely destroyed, defeated by maniacs, and nobody cares. Even when I hold up a piece of paper from one of Franklin Delano Roosevelt's friends and a signature from Courtney Kennedy, people say, ha 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 ha, look what it got them. Look what it got them to help you, motherfucker. You don't play with Pittsburgh Steelers. No, you don't play with Penguins. No.